Man, we are back. We are back. Today is day two of Miracle March, and we're having such an amazing time. Yesterday we had an amazing guest, and some people keeps asking, why are we doing this? And the reason why we're doing this in Miracle March is an intentional month where we're transforming minds by influencing, motivating, and coaching aspiring entrepreneurs and giving them the tools to succeed. And that's the reason why we're doing this. A lot of you may know my journey. Some of you may not know my journey. And I'll give you that another time because I have in the studio with me, Mr. Ryan. Help me out.
Schrope.
There you go. With me. What's up, bro?
How's it going, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing awesome, man. I'm doing awesome. So you're here with me, man. What you got going on? What you want to talk about?
Just another day, man. Happy Miracle March.
Happy Miracle March, man. So Ryan, you jumped in. You got the second position when I dropped the link, and there was only 30, and it filled up in like 3 minutes, and you got the second position. What were you curious to come on here and talk to me about?
Honestly, you're one of the most motivational people I think I've ever heard talk.
Oh, man.
When I saw you post that, I was driving actually. I pulled over and I clicked on the link as fast as I could, and I was like, I need to get in there as fast as possible. Yeah, I mean, seriously, the reason that I joined Sub Mentorship part of in the first place was for people like you, people that were going to elevate me in my mindset, in my goals, and all the things. The first time I was in there on a Tuesday in the morning, I was like, I got to do this every Tuesday. And ever since then, honestly, every day when I wake up on Tuesday, I'm like, it's Motivational Tuesday right here. So, yeah, man. I mean, I just have the opportunity to talk to you, man. You motivate the heck out of me all the time.
Dude, so thank you for that. And I appreciate that. And to those who are listening that isn't very sure what Ryan's talking about, we're a part of a real estate mentorship where I facilitate a 2-hour-long transformational Tuesday Zoom where I come to inspire and motivate. I've been doing it for 2 years now. And so that's really triggered a lot of things in me. So where would you say you are right now in terms of your business, your mindset? Like, where would you say you are right now?
Yeah, early stages. So we've been in the mentorship for about 6 months, my wife and I. And so we're very early stages. We don't own any creative properties right now. Still kind of meeting people and all that. But we are basically 100% in the multifamily game. Another reason that I kind of came across your name early. We just changed our minds about 10 times when we joined Sub 2 on what we were doing, just like everybody else. But was really looking for something that aligned with my goals the best that I could, knowing that those are constantly going to be shifting. And so I started off, my goal for the year at the beginning of the year was to buy one house this year, and just kind of get my foot in the door. And as I started to meet people, I heard people saying, you could go into multifamily, and I thought, oh, maybe we should try and buy 10, like a 10-unit apartment this year. That'd be crazy. So then my goal was 10 units. And by the time I'd been in Sub 2 for like a month maybe, and just connecting with people and going to all the different things, I had changed the goal to now what our goal is 300 plus multifamily units this year.
Let's go, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's our goal this year. But like I said, very early stages in the business. So we're still learning every single day, still connecting with people, trying to find the right path forward.
So take me on a journey. You have this goal. Why is this goal important to you?
So the 300 unit goal, great question as always. I think that I think about it a lot because I think a lot of why I wanted to get into this was to challenge myself. I kind of had a brief stage where I wasn't really challenging myself. And I feel that I have the ability to do a lot, pretty much do anything that I set my mind to. I wasn't really challenging myself. And so the challenge to me was to do things that were considered normal, or to do things that other people may not have been doing in my space, which obviously at the time didn't include the people that I'm connected with now. And that was kind of the start of the rental game, was just my intrigue, my excitement in the goal that we have now. I think I struggle with giving you a really good answer. I think my motivational thing is proving how possible it is to do these things, even when you're not coming from a background of wealth, or like, you know, everybody in your family invests in real estate or anything like that, because I don't have anything like that in my background. And so I do not feel that I'm doing it for finance as much as I'm doing it to be able to create a blueprint that I can use to help other people around me, just like everybody has done for me.
Wow. And I know you could hit this goal, bro. When you do get to that point, who exactly would you want to help? Now, I know that you have your family and you know, just make sure you guys are financially secure, but like when you do get to this goal, who would you really like want to help and give back to?
Yeah, so I think there's like three groups of people that I have written down. The first one would be people that are close to me, so friends and family. Not necessarily, actually, not really at all financially, but just I feel like being surrounded by the people I've been surrounded by, I've gained this insane amount of knowledge in a very short amount of time. And I think one of the things I actually feel frustrated about a lot of times is not being able to share that well with other people. And so the reason being, I've started trying to put myself in a position to do that, but because I haven't, even though I have all the confidence in the world that I'm going to reach these goals, I haven't reached them yet. So I can try to explain how to do it, but until I can show you how to do it, I feel like I'm one step too far behind of being, you know, being at that level where I can really start training, start teaching the way that you do.
Yeah. Now, what makes you feel confident that you could actually do it? Where
The
does that
people around,
confidence come from?
it's 100% the people around me. The people around me, like, I wouldn't have ever dreamed of looking at 300 plus unit properties. I've never raised capital before. I've never gotten on the phone with somebody about a deal more than $300,000, and we're talking about 10 to 100 times that. I have no idea anything about closing these deals, anything like that. So that was my limiting belief when I started, was what's the most I could do on my own. And then that quickly leveled up as I started to meet people like Oscar and Joseph, if you know those guys, seeing you, you know, all the different people, Pace, obviously, and realizing that all I had to do was just start working towards the goal, and I'm going to hit a bunch of roadblocks, but I can immediately call and talk to so many people that are going to walk me through that. And especially with the group of people that we have, probably just do it with you. Just say, hey, let's do it together. Let's figure it out. So at this point, I can still say with confidence that I have no idea how to do most of these things, but I do know exactly who to talk to help me do it.
So you have a goal. Take me through reverse engineering or like getting to this goal, because I love your goal. Your goal is inspiring, right? So that's one of the first things I look for when someone tells me their goal. Does it inspire you? It inspires me. I love that. So I'm sure it does for you. Now, what are you doing? How do you strategically get to that goal?
Yeah.
And before you even answer, to those who are looking on, share the link, because we're gonna get into something that could really possibly help a lot of people looking. So share the link, share the YouTube link, share the Facebook, wherever you at. Share the link. We're gonna get into the sauce right now. Ryan, tell me, man, how do you get into these goals?
Yeah, so my focus was foundational at first, and I feel really blessed to say that I wasn't in a position that a lot of people are in when they get into real estate, which is that I didn't need money right away. And so the way I started was basically looking at the tiers of different things that people were doing, and I was able to cross things off, like wholesaling, for example, because I didn't need that quick cash. So that wasn't something that got me excited.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like that would really get to the step that I needed to be at. So I think I kind of tried to break it down to the first couple months, just soaking tons of information in, trying to get on the phone with as many people as would pick up the phone, trying to get in as many rooms as possible, and just listening to what people had to say.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what changed my goals so many times in that first month was, I mean, people would speak directly to without speak directly. I was in rooms, and I know you said it. I think you said it yesterday. Why only 10 units, right? People would say that straight at me as I'm like scribbling in a notebook. How can I get to 10 units? And people are like, why are you looking at 10 units? Stop looking at 10 units. And I was like, okay, I'll cross that out. What do I do next? So I'm building that foundation of, first of all, who can I go to for these answers? That was a confidence booster. And then the other thing was I knew I needed a team. So being in my area, I started going to our local meetups, tried to just meet other people that were in a similar position to myself, because I felt like that would allow us the opportunity to grow together instead of one person feeling like they constantly had to lift the other person up. But instead we were kind of bouncing off of each other. So my first couple of months, I focused on my team and getting myself connected to people that were going to be doing what I wanted to do so that I could learn from them.
That's awesome. So you got your team, and what's next? What's the process? Like, how do we get this 200 unit? What does your day look like? Like, do you have a 9 to 5 right now?
I do.
Man, there's so many people that's on looking right now, and who will see this, who are in their 9 to 5 and think it's impossible to try to do something else. So how's your day? Like, what's the setup of your day? What does that look like?
So work during the day, long day, obviously, but my schedule for a while was right when I got off work, I would call brokers on my drive home. So I work about an hour away from my house. So I would, the night before, I would make basically like a long list of brokers that I could call in the car, and I would just cycle through brokers in the car with my headphones and just call brokers and introduce myself and try and just make connections. Basically those first calls for me was just trying to get them to remember my name, trying to get them to remember what I'm doing, and knowing that they will forget, obviously. And then I would go home and I would email all these people and follow up. And then they would still forget about me. And I repeated that process like 2 or 3 times until they would pick up the phone eventually and say, yeah, we talked a couple weeks ago. Okay, so now I've got my foot in the door, right? They at least know that I'm listening, or know that they're listening. And then, I mean, it was slow, honestly. It was just trying to then figure out where are the deals coming from. Is broker outreach the right thing? Lots of people do different things. That's what I was doing, was broker outreach. And so that went on for a while. And then actually what finally got our foot in the door was we had a deal. I followed up with a broker for the 4th time, I think. And they said they still didn't have anything. And then that same night, they called me back and said, hey, we just had a deal come up. And me being not having any deals, right? And even though I'm selling myself as, I work on a multifamily team, we've got all these systems. So we underwrote the deal immediately as it came in, like stopped eating dinner, ran in and started underwriting the deal, and called the broker back like 30 minutes later and gave him all the information that we had on the deal, the good, the bad, what we liked, what we didn't like. And he was like, wow, you guys got back so fast with feedback. This is amazing. And long story short, that deal ended up dying really quickly. But a week later, the same guy that I'd called every 2 weeks that told me he didn't have any deals sent us like maybe 4 or 5 deals that were all in our buy box. And it was just because he finally recognized that we were actually doing what we said we were doing. So that was, call it whatever you want to call it, but it was the turning point for us of starting to get an actual deal flow, starting to have things to underwrite, things to motivate us, things to get excited about.
That's awesome, man. What did you guys do to be able to build that credibility with that broker?
Pretty much just follow up. I think the 2 things I worked on a ton when I was in the broker calling stage, not that I'm out of it now, doing it a lot more before we had any deals, And it was one, just being intentional, following up, meeting them for lunches, meeting them for coffee so that they could meet us face to face. Proving that we were local. Most people are going to be from out of town with something like that. So showing them that we're local, showing them, that we're authentic and real. And then another one that I worked really, really hard on at that time was my actual knowledge of multifamily. And that one was a huge difference. So I started calling brokers day one because the people I was surrounded by said, stop saying you're going to do it and just do it.
Yeah.
So I'd call them and they'd ask me questions, and I try to be pretty smooth on the phone. So I would say something like, let me get back to you on that, or let me talk to my partner or something. And I'd write it all down, and then I'd go home and I'd figure out what the heck are they talking about.
Yeah.
And then the next conversation, and basic things, right? People laugh about this stuff once you learn it. But like, I know one broker asked me who the principal was going to be on the deal. I was like, oh, let me get back to you on that, right? I had no idea what he was saying. Different broker the next day said, who's the principal on the deal going to be? And I had looked it up the night before, and I was like, this is crazy. 2 people asked in a row, and now I have an answer.
Yeah.
I think that was a huge credibility boost as well. And every day as I continue to learn, I think I'm able to have more intelligent conversations with them. And that convinces them that I'm not just trying to make a quick buck. I'm studying, I'm learning, and I'm improving and building these systems to actually be legit.
So here's what I really like about what you said, right? You failed forward. You had an escape, right? There almost like an escape clause if we're talking contracts. You knew how you was going to get out of a situation if they asked you a difficult question. Let me go ask my partner. Let me get back to you on that. And so you got out, you learned, and then you went back to somebody else and you were prepared. And I love that you're failing forward and you're an action taker. I love that you're an action taker and you're not letting analysis paralysis kill your momentum. Now, what do you think you need help with in your business right now?
Yeah. Mindset is an everyday thing. And I think nobody's helped me more with that than you. But it's still really tough. A lot of it right now is sometimes I feel so overwhelmed with the amount of things to do that I get stuck in a place where I just don't do anything. Or another one that I do a lot is I come into my office and I sit at my desk for like 4 hours, but I don't get nearly that much work done. I'm looking at the Facebook group trying to see if there's any deals on there. And then I start trying to look something up and I get off on a rabbit trail. And it's like, there's so much stuff to do that it's hard for me to understand what is the best use of my time and what's actually making sense. So like sometimes I'll underwrite a deal, but I don't trust my underwriting that much because I'm still new to underwriting. And so I'm like, why'd I even underwrite that when I have no idea if these numbers are accurate and I don't know if this is, legitimate. And even when I finish underwriting, I've never closed a deal. So I have nothing to back up. If I underwrite a deal and I close it and I can see that, hey, my numbers are there, then that'll be a huge confidence builder. But right now it's like I spend, hours and hours underwriting these deals. And then I feel like I just write them off because I decided it's not a good deal and I let them sit or whatever it may be and kind of get stuck in that phase.
Do you, and I'm sure a lot of people on here could definitely relate to you, where it's like you believe you got a lot of things to do and you're just kind of like, what do I do? Right? That's probably one of the main things a lot of my clients they have. Matter of fact, I had a conversation with one of my clients earlier today, helping her strategically kind of know what the first, second, third things are that she should be doing in her business. Now, do you write down the main tasks that you need to do?
Not very well. No, it mostly just comes out of my head, if I'm being honest. I've started trying to write it down, but I'm like, if you want to use the words everybody uses, I think I'm very much a visionary. So I see all the stuff I want to do, but I don't really know how to get there. And I definitely don't write it down.
So I think the first step is for you to write it down. You got to write it down. Without writing it down, you're going to be in trouble. You're not going to be able to to see things, to know exactly when to do it. Matter of fact, let me see if I can actually share my screen. I have never done that on here, but I think it would be pretty cool if I can. Pum pum pum. Because what I would do, bro, is I think this would be very helpful for you and also other people that's looking as well. And I got this template from a book that was super helpful for me called the 12-week year, right? It's called the 12-week year, and it's extremely helpful. So let me see if I could pull this up. Slides, your computer, upload file. Oh my gosh, when technology, and I used to be a tech guy. This is crazy. Share screen. Here we go. Share screen. Okay, cool. This is going to be helpful. So you want to get something like this. Let me know if you could see what I have on my screen right now.
Yep.
Can you see that? The 12-week year plan?
Yep.
So writing down the 12-week year. So this is an example I did with one of my clients. And so you have the goal, right? So you have different goals. What are your goals? And of course, you could put in the start date, the end date, but you want to have your goal down. And so right now, your goal is to have 200 doors.
300, but yep.
Oh, come on. You better correct me. 300 doors. What cash flow do you estimate that to be?
I honestly don't have a number for it.
It's okay. So let's just say 300 doors in multifamily. I like to get super specific, but let's just, for this example. Now, below that, now you have what are the action items you need to take every single day, every month, every week. What does that look like? And so in this example that I had, you have call 5 brokers per day, right? So depending on the time, a lot of people that I help are corporate people who are becoming entrepreneurs, and they're doing deals or whatever, or they're trying to get that deal. And so the time is limited. For somebody else, this number would be a lot more, right? So call 5 brokers per day. This is a task you have to do. You got to define your buy box. Like, is it class A, class B? Like, what type of property are you going to buy? And then you want to know what areas are you going to buy them in? And so all of those things define your buy box. Another thing you need to do is how many LOIs are you going to send out? How many offers are you going to send out? Of course, you got to underwrite the deal. So how many properties do you underwrite every week, right? And so you kind of get the gist, and you want to put here the date you're going to do it by. But if it's every week, you put every week. If this is in week 2, let's say week 1, you're doing something else. In week 2, you want to define your buy box. You want to make sure that you know exactly the target, the location, everything that you're going for. And you continue to build out what you have to do ahead of time. Because now let me see if I could stop sharing my screen. Bum, bum, bum. Let me tell you why that's important. The reason why that's important, and you need to, and typically you want to do this on a weekend. You want to define these things on a weekend, because I like to say, let's use the conditioning that we already have, because we're all conditioned, right? Especially coming out of our 9 to 5. We're all conditioned. So let's use the hamster wheel that we already know. So on the weekend, let's work on the business. Let's define all these things that we got to do during the week on a weekend, so that when the weekday comes, you're running on your own hamster wheel now. We're used to going heads down. The problem is when we become entrepreneurs, we don't have the what to do. We just try to show up. So imagine if you were a school teacher, A school teacher has a curriculum. They know what they're going to teach their class. It's planned out before the year starts. Entrepreneurs, especially new entrepreneurs, we come into entrepreneurship to class without a curriculum. We don't know what we're going to do. We show up, we sit in the office, and it's like, what do I do now? Right? Like we get lost in that. And so working on the business absolutely gives you that curriculum for you to show up in your classroom and begin teaching. Does that make sense?
100%.
So I think, bro, the first thing for you, and I'll send you as a gift, I'll send you that PDF that I have, so that you could start applying that, because that would be your homework, man. Like write out what your goals are, and start itemizing what those things would be. Because without that, you're gonna always know what you have to do in your head, but it's not really gonna happen, because when it's time to play, it's gonna be like, man, what am I supposed to do now? I should be doing something else. And this is just step one. This is just step one. Step two is detailing your days. I have my clients detail their week. Like, what would that ideal week look like? Every single hour of the week from 4 a.m. Most people are still sleeping. I'm up at 4, right? So from 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. What are you doing? Every single hour has to be assessed and have a task to do. Otherwise, it's like a budget, right? You have a budget and you have 24 hours. That's your budget. What are you assigning that capital to every single day? And that's the way you become more productive. You know what you're doing. Because some people are like, I don't have time. Yes, you do. This is a lie detector test, right? So major keys to start not being paralyzed when you go in the office, like you said, not get pulled in a rabbit hole, because when you know exactly what to do, that's when you show up. But when there's confusion, it's like you get a text and you go all the way into the text. You get distracted, right? So does that make sense, brother?
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. It's like I don't have any trouble getting to the position of doing the work. It's just when I get here, I get stuck on what work to actually do sometimes. And sometimes it's not true, because some days things just start flowing and there's a bunch of stuff coming in and I'm busy. And then other days I'm kind of like stuck in a waiting period, especially with multifamily, because, we'll be waiting on financials or we'll call back from a or something for a while. And it's like, well, what do I do now? And that's where I get stuck.
Here's the great thing about all of these processes, right? They all have a process of things to do. There's only so many things in this process, from defining your buy box to closing on a property. Now it's your job to get educated, get the steps on what goes in between this space, right? Like there is a process. Everything has a step, a next. And right now you're failing forward, which is great, but being able to define the steps ahead of time on a weekend, not when you're supposed to be working, right? Like define the steps so that when you show up, you have your curriculum. You know exactly what you're showing up into. Yep. Does that make sense?
It all makes sense.
So I'm gonna gift you that so that you could really start budgeting for what you need to get done. What else do you need help within your business and your mindset? What else you think you need help with?
I mean, I think the mindset is always one for me. Going back to what we were talking about earlier, like,
yeah,
once I hit my goals, what do I want to do? Who do I want to help? That's my main motivator. I truly believe that I have so much information to share with people. And so my struggle sometimes is trying to push back because I never want to be in that classic situation where I say, well, in the future, right? In the future, I'm going to help people do this, or in the future, I'm going to do that. I want to find ways to do those things now. But when it comes to a lot of this stuff, like I said, I don't know how to really hit those goals when I'm not, I haven't hit myself. So it's like, I can't really quite get people there. And so that's another tough one, is that I'm definitely want to do this, but I'm just not quite sure.
So you just said something, and I always ask this question when I hear some people say this. Um, like, when is the best time to start? Because right now, I mean, you know things that other people don't know. You know what a key principle means, right? There's some people who don't know what that means. And so, would a freshman be able to, or let's say a sophomore, be able to help a freshman in school? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the answer is yeah, right? Would a junior be able to help a sophomore and a freshman? Absolutely. Would a senior be able to help all three? And so don't wait. You don't have to wait to get to university to start helping people. You could help people on the same level or under you, even some people above you, because there's something unique in you that I'm sure there's a crap ton of things that that would be able to even help me out. Now, who would you want to help? Do you know? Or is that
Yes.
a question for you?
Oh, I do. So that's what I was saying. There's three groups of people, and one of them is figuring out how can I build, or how can I join into a platform where I can help other people in our mentorship and other people in our world. And what I mean by those group of people is people that are looking for help. Right. So
Mm.
that's the first one for me, is people that are looking for help that I think I could help. And I think I disqualify myself from that because, number one, there's a lot of other people that are already providing that help. And number two, those people are usually a senior when I'm a sophomore or whatever it may be. It's like they can cover more ground with the same amount. So that's the first group. And then the second is the people that
Pause on that for a second, Ryan. Where do
that's
you live? Where do you live?
Jacksonville, Florida.
Jacksonville, Florida. How many groceries are like close to you?
Like grocery stores?
Yeah,
Tons, 5, 6.
like 5, 6. What if one of them said, there's already a grocery store right there. I wouldn't open another one. Or, there's already a restaurant there. There's already a Chinese restaurant there. So I wouldn't open another one. How do they all work? Why do you think they all work and they're all like in business?
Different options, different preferences.
Everyone may have its own unique thing that they appeal to a customer. And it would be the exact same for you. It doesn't matter how many people are doing a particular task. There's no other Ryan. There's no Schrope. There's no other Ryan Schropes in the world, dude. Your fingerprint, you are unique. And there will always be room for you to be able to provide help and assistance. So I just want to address that first. Now, jump to your second thing.
So the second group of people is the people that I want to help but aren't looking for it.
Okay.
And that one's a really tough one. And I've tried to brainstorm stuff, and I think I've started to maybe make some headway in some areas. But another one of my goals, going back to the goals, so 300 units was my multifamily goal. I've got a bunch of goals. I like to set goals. And another one is helping friends and family and people that I'm connected with buy houses for themselves. So people that aren't in the real estate world at all, that don't own their own home.
Yeah.
And I've been posting about it and trying to learn about ways that I could help those people. But the problem is that if people aren't willing to listen, if they're not interested, then my words, you know, they fall on deaf ears. So I've tried to do things like offer books to people, right? I'll say, hey, I'll pay for this book. Like I'll buy this book for you and send it to your house if you'll read it. But right. And so it's things like that where I get stuck on, you know, I feel this desire to help, but I can only do so much until they actually want that help.
Got it. Tell me about a time that you were able to have influence on someone.
That's a tough one. A time that I've been able to have influence on someone. I mean, I think right now, just in the real estate realm, I've been able to have an influence on people just by trying to share what I'm doing, and doing things like buying a house at a younger age, having an Airbnb at a younger age, getting into this, you know, investing game, so to speak, at a younger age. I think that that's been able to have a positive influence on people that are paying attention, that are looking at those things that I'm trying to reach out to.
Okay, got it. Because what I hear from you is that you want to help, but it's hard, especially with the people who are not looking. Do you know how to have influence on people who are not looking to be helped initially? Do you have any idea?
I mean, my best answer to that is just trying to lead by example.
That's good. That's really good. Now, let me ask you this. Have you been ever watching TV or on the radio, listening to the radio, and you've heard, um, are you having issues with your house? And you're like, oh crap, that's me, right? And so it's really understanding their pain. And now we're getting into sales, right? It's because they may not think they need it, doesn't mean they don't. But then again, you need to speak their pain. You got to appeal to the thing that they want. You know they want it. You know that they're renting, let's say. They've been renting for a lot of years, and maybe their goal, vision for their life is probably, I want to have a great time with, I want to be able to have freedom with my kids, right? That's a lot of people's goal. I want time freedom. I want a nice house and all that, but they don't think that they could afford it. So how would you paint that picture for someone who they just don't believe they could do it right now? Here's a good catchphrase. If you said something on Instagram like, I know you don't think you could afford a home right now, but I could guide you on how to do it. You think somebody would be like, oh, I think he's talking to me, right? And so this is how you start having these conversations with people, because pushing them and saying, you should buy a house, you should do this. They're like, man, dude, a brick wall goes up. But when you understand their pain, you understand what drives them, what's the motivating factor, and you paint a picture back to them, then they're listening. And it's funny I say that because before Transformational Tuesdays turned into what it is, I used to teach sales on painting the picture. How do you paint that picture back to someone, right? And so that's really what it is. It's listening to their needs, listening to their feelings, being able to relate to them, and then painting that picture right back to the person you're talking to. Does that make sense?
Makes a ton of sense. Yeah, I'm definitely, you know, something that I struggle with is putting myself in the shoes of other people and kind of shifting my perspective, which I think would be a lot of what you're saying is, you know, understanding where they're coming from so that you can paint a picture that's going to appeal to them. So yeah, that's something that I definitely struggle with.
Yeah, and it gets harder and harder the closer to home it is, right? Like, like if it's a girlfriend, a wife, a family member, it starts to get a little harder because it's like, you should just listen to me versus the patience to kind of listen and, well, I really understand what you mean, and you start to relate and all that type of stuff. It's a lot harder with family than it is with someone that you're trying to sell a property to or something like that. But that's how I think you could get through to your number two and three people that you want to help. It would take you educating yourself on sales.
I can do that. We're
Yes, you
working on
can.
it.
Yes, you can. You got an hour drive from work to home, so you could do it.
Oh, I got the time when I'm driving to listen and learn anything that I possibly can get my hands on.
Man, I really love your drive, bro. And thank you for signing up and just being here with me and the team. Is there anything else I could help you with, bro? I super appreciate you.
So the third group of people that I wanted to touch on. So the three things that I want to do kind of on this journey, right, that we talked about is helping the people that want the help, helping the people that don't want the help, and then the third one is being able to use the time and resources that I acquire as a result of this goal to benefit the people, the less fortunate people. So people that actually need the money and need that time invested into them. And that's another one. That's actually the one that kicks me the most when I struggle with saying I want to do this in the future versus wanting to do this now, right? Because I fully understand, even if I don't take action on it as much as I should, that I'm in a position even right now where I can help so many people financially, and I can still make the time to help people in other ways as well. So that one always kicks me as one that I say, like, in the future I want to do this, right? But another thing with that is that it's almost like when I joined Sub 2 and there was so many options. I feel that same kind of thing with this, where it's like I want to help everybody, but I can't. I shouldn't say I can't. I'm not going to say I can't do anything, but I don't know how to help everybody. So I want to figure out who can I have the biggest impact on now, and then how can I facilitate those as I go along and gain more resources, more connections to help more people. Hopefully, with all of those things.
Such a great question, man. And how I like to guide people through this in figuring out who you want to help is taking a journey back through your own life. If we were to take a journey and we looked at a previous version of Ryan, which version of Ryan would you go back and say, man, Ryan, don't do that. Like, let me help you. You don't have to do it that way anymore. You should do it this way. Who would that version be? Do you remember a time that you could really have used the guidance?
I mean, the biggest one to me is people that are trying to figure out what they're going to do with their lives. And that's one that I think is, I can very much, I don't know how, I'm trying to figure it out how, but people that, not anything specific, but people that are leaving high school, people that are leaving college, because I'm introduced into this world now that's so different from everything that you hear. And I know people say that all the time, but it's true. I mean, I want to be able to impact people when they come to me and say, what college should I go to? What degree should I, work towards? Which job should I accept? Whatever it may be. And I think I've actually had multiple opportunities already where those kinds of things come up. And the tough thing for me is that I have this vision now of where I'm going and where I could help other people go, but I don't want to just imprint my vision on them, right? And so it's like, I know that a lot of their vision is probably based off of what other people say, but I can't just give them a different vision. I can only try and help them walk those steps.
What if you're able to share your vision and some of the things that you like and do, and if it's something that they relate to, they 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 sign up, right? They come. There's a reason why you've jumped on this call with me. It's because we relate when it comes to real estate, and so and like with mindset, that's something that I thoroughly enjoy. So there's people, when you put it out there, hey, this are the type of people I want to help. This is what I stand for. And then people are attracted to you. What are you putting out there for people to be attracted to?
I don't know. That's a good question. What I want to put out there is just the idea that there's so many different opportunities. And what I don't want to put out there is that the opportunity that I've chosen is the only one. Because I fully believe that there's people. I mean, I see people every day that are doing what they want to do. That's something I would never want to do.
Yeah.
And so how do I convey to that broad spectrum of people where some of them are on the path I want to be, and you'll get the people that you run into that say, you know, I'm just here because my parents wanted me to be here, or I'm just here because I didn't know what else to do, and things like that. It's like, those are the people that I want to say, you know, there's so many options. Like, let's talk about it. Let's get into it. But they're already down this path where it's so hard to rip people off of a path when you don't make their decisions. You know, you're just trying to help.
Yeah. Man, this is so amazing, dude, because right now you're singing my song. You don't know it, but you're singing my song, even to the point of which I'm going to be having an event coming up soon, where the mission of that event is exactly what you just said, literally, where I'm going to be bringing a bunch of people in different sectors, experts in different sectors, to be able to share. Because when I was in my corporate job, I was a cybersecurity engineer, and I wanted to make more money. The only options that I could think about was go to Best Buy and become a Geek Squad tech, get another job as a cybersecurity guy or something at night for another law firm. And it was all within, like, go back to school and get a degree, and stress me out, man. Stress me out. And then I decided real estate. And now that I jumped into this world, and we've been able to work at it and have a decent level of success in it, now I'm like, oh my God, there's all of this stuff that you could do. And so last year, I did the first, and I'll just say what it is. It's my Go Giver birthday celebration. Last year, I did this celebration where I had over 500 people on this Zoom. And I had people who were doing Toro, who were doing trading, who were like all different walks and sectors, just pure value, man. Like so much value for free. And I'm going to be doing it again this year. That's a part of my Miracle March, man. This is why Miracle March exists. It exists because I just want to be a blessing, because I felt like when I was on the other side, I didn't have it. I didn't have that person who was willing to spend this much time with me, or who, like, just the information. So I 100% connect with what your mission. It sounds like your mission is, and maybe we can work together. Maybe this is something that we'll be able to connect on and come together and really change the world, man. Because that is my mission. That is my bigger why. That is one of the things, other than like what I'm doing here, to be able to give back in the same way that you're talking about.
Yeah, there's just so many so many options and opportunities to do that. And so figuring out how I can be the most effective now, I think is something that I don't know if you want to say struggle with or just think about, but I'm always thinking about like I said it right at the beginning. I almost feel a burden, and that's a weird word to use, but a burden of how much good information and how many good connections I've gained in these last couple of months, to where it's like, how come I can have this much stuff, this much stuff that I've this much opportunity, to the point where I'm confident I can reach these goals that I'm not even to paper. And yet there's other people that I know have no opportunity. And how do I get that to them? How do I spread those things out? So it's like, what I equate it to is it's the same feeling that I feel knowing Jesus, and the excitement that you have with that information is like, you just want to tell everybody, but not everybody's willing to listen. And it's the same thing with this, where you feel like you have this life-changing information, but you have to figure out, or I have to figure out at least, how to get that information to the people that it's going to have the greatest effect on.
Man, you're hitting so many things. And, you know, as we wrap up, here's what I would say. You brought up being on fire for Jesus. Do you think do you like every pastor that preaches?
No, if I'm being honest.
No. It's not that they're bad people. You just don't relate to them, don't connect. You know what? You know what makes a pastor that you may like good? They have probably, and this is an assumption, but I'm like 80 to 90% sure I'm right. They have worked on their speaking. They've worked on their communication. They have harnessed the gift. They didn't just try to do it. They said, okay, I know I have this gift. I know this is my calling and this thing that I need to do. Let me now go and spend time crafting this gift that has been given to me, so that people who doesn't even want to hear this message, when they hear it, they could receive it. Because communication, man, communicators are the highest paid people in the world. Excellent communicators are the highest paid people in the world. And so understanding, knowing that you have this burning desire in your heart, now the next piece is, I got to learn how to communicate this so that even someone who does not know that they need this, how could I get through to that person? Mm-hmm. And that's what I hear from you, man. And so communication will be something you got to use.
Yeah, I need to work on it for sure. I need to work on that, and I need to work on the platform, like I was saying, figuring out how to get it out there, you know.
Well, we're on a platform right now.
That's true.
The platform is as simple as you just start sharing on your own social media. Just start sharing. As you build the muscle, you build the reps, you build yourself up, you start communicating better, you learn how to communicate, everything else is going to fall into place. Don't try to be perfect to start. You failed forward already, so I don't have to tell you this. Just get started. Start on your journey and start sharing today. And there's people looking, and it may take you years. Like, I got a text from someone that I haven't talked to in over maybe 8 years saying, hey man, I see what you're doing. How could we hop on a call? Because I want to know more. You just never know. But if I was not just pouring out and sharing, not sharing for a like, but sharing because this is what's on my heart, that's where the transformation and the things happen.
Definitely.
So you got a lot of homework, bro, because now you got to start sharing.
I always have a lot of homework. I can take
it. I like it, man.
I'd rather have a lot of work than the other way around.
I could hear that about you, and I really love and appreciate that about you, man. Well, dude, thank you so much for being a part of Miracle March and trusting me enough to come on and to share and trust my guidance in your story. I really, really, truly, from the heart, appreciate that, bro. So,
Yeah.
any
Thank
final
you.
words?
Thank you, man. Honestly, I mean, if anybody else sees this, like the reason that I love listening to Keston so much is exactly what you said. I think that what I want to do very much, embodies a lot of the things you do now, but you're just doing it at the next level. And so that's why I try to get around you. But if people see this, like the fact that you get this excited about doing this for free every day, taking all this time, like I just hope that I can get to that place. And that's what I want to work towards. So just thank you so much for doing that, for waking up early on Tuesdays and all the other stuff that you do. Seriously, anytime I see your name, I try to get in there. Even if you don't see my face, sometimes the only time I turn the camera on is to dance at the beginning. I turn it back off because I'm at work and I'm in the office. But yeah, just thank you for everything you do. Seriously, there's stuff that you've said that we didn't go over today that motivates me in the back of my mind when I'm struggling with stuff or my perspective is off. All of that stuff, you've changed a lot. So I appreciate the heck out of you.
Man, thank you, bro. That's heartfelt. So Ryan, thank you so much, guys. This is day two, and such an amazing interview, amazing time, amazing talk with Ryan. And tomorrow would be day three. But before we get to tomorrow, please like and subscribe. Please share this link because my mission is to help others and to transform minds. So the more people that I could impact, the more people that my team could impact, that would be us living our purpose. And so we appreciate you all so much. Thank you to my wife, Jazz. Thank you to my COO, Lisa, and Betsy, and the entire team, because the team is growing. Our team is growing so fast. And I appreciate everyone who is tuned in and is sharing this. Love you guys. Peace and love. Catch y'all later. Peace.